guys, welcome back to Just RC. So today we're looking at our Robbe Prinzess project again, guys. The last video we were bench testing the Aquacraft EP1 motor. We did confirm that it worked, and I was kind of faced with the decision whether to put it on this Robbe Prinzess or the orange one here, which has the original motor but damaged spur gear. And I decided I want to leave this one original. We'll see if we can find a new motor, original motor, or a new spur gear. So more to come on that one. This one here already does have a 3D printed interior, custom paint job, and I just figure this is probably the best one. And it's all black. It looks really cool on there. So that being said, what we need to do now, guys, is I'm looking at the motor mounts. So obviously this one is a lot smaller, so we just kind of look at it here. So we're gonna need some new holes. We could utilize kind of two there, but it's gonna have it kind of off-centered. So I'd like to have it kind of right up here in the center. So first thing is first, what we gotta do is get these holes filled. So I do have some scrap styrene, as well as some JB Weld plastic. So I'm probably just going to cut some little strips, glue those in behind these holes, and then fill the holes with the JB Weld. That's kind of the first step, and then we'll look at getting the motor mounted up with the new mount. So I just want to show you quickly here on what I mean. So I'm just going to pop this on here and show you guys really quick. Alright guys, so it's gonna mount something like this. Looks really awesome. We're gonna have to put it, it's gonna have to be down a little bit. So because of this extreme kind of steering angle here, unfortunately these are too short, so we're gonna have to figure out longer ones. But the position is good. So I think as long as we go right in the middle, we're gonna have to go down a little bit, obviously. Motor wires are a little bit tight, a little bit pinched there, but if we get longer wires here, I think it should be fine. This servo shot, but you guys get the idea anyways. So I think that's gonna work. So I'm gonna get to work getting this thing mounted, and like I said, we'll figure out the steering later. Might even be able to salvage the steering from the old Robbe one, so we'll see, guys. So like I said, I've just got two little pieces here. We're just gonna glue those from the inside with super glue for now, and then we'll fill the holes with some of this JB plastic weld. The other thing I saw as well is if you're looking to fill holes in plastic, you can actually put some drops of super glue and some baking soda. All right, guys, so the super glue and baking soda worked really well. It's filled the hole. It's really hard. So what I'm going to do now is just kind of take a razor blade and just kind of take the edge off there, and then give it a little sand, and then I'm just going to go over it with some 5-minute epoxy, and then we'll just paint it black, and then we'll start drilling for our new holes. Alright guys, so it's not really looking that good on camera. It looks better in person, I will be honest. I did put a little epoxy over that as well after we sand it. But what I'm going to do now is just kind of hit it with some gloss black. I'm going to cover it all, and it should look a lot better once it's all covered. So while we're waiting for the epoxy to dry, I do want to get this motor opened up. So I see this is where the water pickup is. And I'm assuming this is a water-cooled motor, but I just don't know where the exit point is. There's just no obvious place where the water exits, unless it's right there. So what I want to do is there's 2 screws, one here and one here. Get this opened up and have a look inside. Okay. All right, so just looking here, it's really nice cover there as well. Nice thick plastic. Looking at the motor water cooling, so that must be the exit point. So it is kind of cool that it's all contained and we don't have to run any cooling lines into the actual boat. But that also means that our ESC is not going to be water cooled, but this is a brush boat. We're probably only going to run it on 2S. Don't think the ESC getting hot is really going to be an issue. So now I want to try and figure out how we can get the bottom half opened up to get this thing greased. All right, so just gonna try and loosen this here. So there is some really old grease in there, guys. Like, ew, look at that. So if you guys can see that or not, really old grease. So we're gonna pack some grease in there, and this whole front piece must come off as well. I don't want to take the whole thing apart, guys. I just kind of want to take the necessary, I just want to be able to grease this thing and get it back together as factory. I don't want to mess with it too much, to be honest. I just want to kind of service it and put it all back together as factory. And I don't want to mess with it too much, like I said. So we're gonna get this cleaned out, pack some grease in here, see if we can pull out the prop, grease in there, and if there's anything we can do at the top end. But other than that, we're just gonna leave it for now. All right, guys, so I got it apart just enough to get some grease in the shaft there. We are going to be doing a full rebuild on this motor, as well as I will be getting a second one of these motors as well. And we're going to do a full breakdown with new ball bearings and everything. But just for today's video, I just wanted to get a little bit of grease in there, take a look at the water cooling, so we can get this mounted up on the boat. And like I said, we will be doing a deeper dive into the motor on a later video. Okay guys, so as far as the steering goes, you can see it's kind of sticking up in the air there. That's kind of where we want the motor. We can't really go any higher than that. So you can see it's kind of sticking up. It looks to be that it's about, geez, like a millimeter too short. So I think what we need to do, guys, is these holes here, you can see they're not all the way down. We need to make these holes bigger so that this part is actually down more and it's not sticking up in the air because the servo is kind of down. So I'm going to drill these holes out so that they're a lot larger and closer down to this lip here. We're gonna have to clean up the paint, but it did seem to help quite a bit just having it lower. We'll have to get some kind of rubber or something to put over those holes there and stuff, but as you can see here, it's pretty well straight there, so looks like it's gonna work. So next thing we got to do is get the holes and get a template done for the motor mount, and then come back in a minute and we'll get all the steering hooked up here. All right guys, so I just got some tape on there. I'm gonna get this lined up. I'm gonna mark the holes, and we're gonna drill the motor mount and get the motor on there. Pretty exciting stuff, guys. Okay, so we got our holes marked now. The original screws that were used to mount on the old bass boat are a Phillips, and there was no nut on the end there. So our original Rcwd Princess mount that was on the back of there, they use a hex, as well as they have a nut to go in the end there. So I think we're going to use these with the Aquacraft mount. So now I just need to figure out the drill bit size. All right, so what I'm going to do, guys, is just start small and work my way up. I don't want to make too big of a hole at first. I want it to be a nice tight hole, and then we'll actually fill some epoxy around there as well. I want it to be watertight, so that no water can get through where we're mounting the motor. All right, now guys, we really lucked out with this drill bit. It actually was a perfect size. So I'm just gonna take this tape off here. I'll just show you. Perfect size. The washer and everything on there. Guys, so we got the mount all on there now, so now we can go ahead and get our outboard mounted up on the boat, and then we can get the steering hooked up, and then we can move on to some of the detail bits, and that's what I'm really looking forward to. Alright guys, so the motor's all mounted on there now. The problem is now that we're trying to get the steering hooked up. So this actually would curve up into here. This plastic piece would go over and it would be good. The problem is that we're just about, geez, a millimeter too short, guys. So what I think we're gonna do is I have these from the original steering off of this boat. So I think what we're going to do is get the Dremel, cut this, and then what we'll do is we'll probably JB weld this onto the end of the rod, which will hook onto the servo like so. So I think that's what we're going to have to do, unfortunately. I just don't have any longer rods, and I don't want to go through that whole hassle and take the motor all off again. So I think we'll just start cutting, and like I said, we'll fix these on there, whether we solder it or JB weld or whatever, and then that should be good. All right, guys, you can see I got one done here. This is definitely something you want to take your time with. You want to just cut a little bit, test, cut a little bit, test. You don't want to cut too much or you're going to be out of luck. So we're just going to cut a little bit more and then test again. Okay guys, we got it all hooked up there. We're going to turn it on, give it a quick test. Alright guys, well this one's getting a little bit long, so I think we're going to leave it here, but definitely stay tuned for the next part of this series. We're going to get all the detail bits, new windshield, everything all on it, and then she'll be ready for the water here soon. So really happy how this is turning out, guys. So yeah, like I said, we're going to leave this one here. We know it turns, it's mounted up there nice. So the only thing left to do is just do some of the detail bits and get this thing in the water. So just like, subscribe, guys. See you guys on the next one. Thanks.